Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and as you guys know, yesterday was November 27th, 2020. What does that matter? Because basically yesterday was Black Friday. And on Black Friday, Americans go out of their way to buy assets that are going to make them a ton of money in the future. No, obviously, I'm kidding here. We go out there, we buy TVs, we buy things on sale that aren't really on sale, but they're on sale on Black Friday, so we go ahead and buy them for the sale price. It doesn't make sense, but the point is, on Black Friday, people grab their money and spend it on a ton of things that are not going to increase in value, but actually devaluate as time keeps going on. And that's why today I decided, hey, why not make a video giving you guys 10 different things that if you buy today, well, assets over time can actually make you a good profit and potentially retire you if you actually want to. Now, obviously, these assets, I'm not going to tell you, hey, all these assets are passively held. You buy them once, they pay you money, forget about it. The answer is no. Not all of them are like that, because some of them you have to put in work to actually get something back and actually keep making more and more and more money. But all of them share one thing in common, and that's that basically all of them pay you money for owning them, and that's what you want when you're going out there to buy an asset. Let's be honest here. And if you guys are new here, my name is TommyBryson, and I post videos every single day, so make sure you also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. On top of that, also destroy the like button. Now, let's get started with this list of 10 assets that are going to make you a ton of money if you invest in them correctly and you know exactly what you're actually doing. The first one is one that I bet that you haven't really heard about whatsoever from another YouTuber, and that's basically investing into agriculture. Basically, buying land to produce a crop to then make you money. Now, obviously, there are two ways to go about this, okay? You buy some acres, you become a farmer, you put on a hat, and then you just become a farmer for the rest of your life and forget about the city, right? But obviously, most of us do not want to do that, but there is a second way to actually go about doing it, okay? Now, my choice is, hey, I don't want to be a farmer, so I'd rather go ahead, buy some acres of land, and then rent it out to a farmer and get passive income that way. Now, the average acre of land in America goes for around $1,500, and around 25 years ago, it was going for around $800 an acre. So obviously, as time passes, your investments is growing up with time. And by the way, because farmers do have a lot of incentives, usually they're not going to miss any of your rent payments every single month, or for example, every single quarter. Now, by the way, just so you guys know, in America, we can actually grow corn, cotton, wheat, soybeans, and a few other crops out there. But in reality, guys, the point is this, okay, if you don't want to do that, and you think, for example, hey, Tommy, well, the math says, okay, if I want to buy 20 acres, okay, that's going to be at an average of, let's say, $1,500 per acre. I need around $1,500 multiplied. That's going to be around $30,000 for 20 acres. Tommy, that's way too much money. It's not worth it to even get started. I need 400 acres. Well, in reality, it all depends what you're actually planting. Because, for example, if you focus on timberland, okay, and not, for example, just like, hey, farmland, the answer is, by the way, timberland is when you actually grow trees and the trees get cut and then you make money by selling that wood. Well, there's a very expensive wood out there called black walnut, okay? And 1 acre of black walnut usually goes for around $100,000. Now, obviously, you're not gonna pay this for the acre because most likely the soil needs to be special, so it might be close to $5,000 to $10,000 an acre. But the idea is that, imagine this, okay, you invest into 10 acres, $100,000, $10K, the premium, okay? And in a few years, you get to make $1 million from your investment. Now, obviously, okay, you can't make trees grow faster. So walnut, it takes around 20 to 30 years to actually mature, which is gonna give you an average of around a 9% return every single year on average from your entire black walnut farm. However, there is one thing that I do want to tell you guys, okay? Because although you might say, Tommy, well, it sounds like I put my money there, I have to wait 30 years, oh my gosh, way too long. But in reality, a lot of farmers, what they do is, you see how they plant this right here? Let me just zoom in, guys, right here. You see how they plant the walnut trees? It looks like it's very spread out and has a lot of space here. Well, between these spaces right here, they go ahead and they actually plant other crops. And from those crops to generate some money, and with that money, they can go ahead and basically make some passive income. And on top of that, for example, pay the taxes on this property right here. And in 20 years or 30 years, you get to make a ton of money. Obviously, it's a long-term investment. It's not an investment that's going to happen overnight, but obviously it's also pretty profitable. Either timberland or, for example, farmland. And again, it all depends, okay? Not all trees take 30 years, but obviously black walnut trees do take a long time because again, an acre can go for around $100,000. So if you're patient, you might want to consider getting into this business right here. On top of that, the second option is basically a laundromat. Now, obviously, laundromats are places you actually go to wash your clothes. Now, as the owner to a laundromat, your only job is to maintain and also take quarters out and get paid money. That is your main job as a laundromat owner. Now, the idea is that if you wanted to, you can actually have the laundromat run automatically. That way, you don't need to be present there all the time. Just check in every now and then to see exactly how everything's going. But let's say, for example, you're actually in New York, okay? Tommy, how much is a laundromat gonna cost me in New York? The answer is, well, here's one right here, okay? And by the way, whenever you wanna see a business is cost, how much it's selling for, all that stuff, the answer is you can actually go to Biz Buy Sell to get a decent estimate. This laundromat right here is going for around $200,000, and according to them, makes around $96,000 in net income, but it gross around $295,000. Now, there is one thing I do want to let you guys know, okay? Whenever you actually go out there and buy a laundromat, you're basically buying the lease from someone that already owns the laundromat, okay? So you're not really buying the real estate, the actual land there. No, you're buying the machines, the business itself, and the lease from that person, okay? You're not the owner of the entire building in any way. So make sure you guys understand that, unless it's a special deal where basically the person with the laundromat also owns the entire complex. Well, that would be pretty cool, right? But the answer is laundromats can make you a ton of money, okay? Look at this, okay? $25,000 just from sales, $8,218 just from coins every single month. But the big costs are basically, obviously, the heat, the water, employees. There's a lot of costs to this, and that's why, you know, they make $96,000 off of $295,000 every single year. Laundromats, very cool business to consider, but you can either do it, for example, I work here, I'm the owner, or everything's automated and I just basically come here and take money out and make sure everything is running perfectly. Now, the third option is actually getting into a car wash business. Now, car wash businesses, the automatic ones where actually just put the car through, those ones can be very expensive and often are sold not just by themselves, but often with a convenience store and also a gas station. That can cost you a ton of money. And that's why right now, for example, when you check into New York, they cost between $500,000 all the way upwards to $1.3 million. Now, that's one way to actually do it, okay? You get a gas station, a convenience store, and on top of that, also a car wash. You get $1.3 million it actually costs you, and you can actually make a ton of money every single year. Or, for example, if you're very creative, you go to Home Depot and you buy, for example, a power washer and go house to house and say, hey, I want to wash a car. I'll charge you this much and I can charge you this much every single month to make sure your car is actually cleaned every single month. Or, for example, if you want to get to the next level, you go to parking lots, dealerships, or, for example, gas stations or auto repair places and say, for example, hey, I have a power machine, I have experience, I want to go ahead and wash these cars for you, and as a part of the service, I'll pay you a lease or percentage of whatever business I actually do in your business, okay? So, for example, there's a parking lot down the block from my house, and if I wanted to, I can get this right here, a whole power washer right here for cheap, like around $200 to $500, and then boom, I go over there and say, hey, I want to wash these cars every single day or every single month, and I charge you this guys this much, and I'll give you guys this much money, because basically everyone that has a business wants to offer better service, and this way you help them offer better service but also get a piece of the profits, and that way you don't need $1.3 million just to get started buying a whole automated car wash, but it's something you can actually go ahead and build to eventually. Now, number 4, guys, is actually an iPhone. Tommy, how can an iPhone be an asset? This thing, you buy it 1 year, next year costs less money, next year there's a new one, and now yours is trash. The answer is, yeah, that's true, but in reality, it creates an underground market of selling used iPhones, okay? So, for example, I was doing this all the time. I would buy iPhones used and cheap for a good price and sell them for a profit, used and cheap for a good price, and for like around a $50 to $100 profit every single time I sold one. And that way I made some active income, because it is kind of like a job, but it does create for you some extra income if you actually want to get into it. Now, by the way, guys, so far I told you about the laundromat and also the iPhones. I have full videos on business plans and how to get into those businesses, so I'll make sure to link those videos down below also. That way you get a full plan and how to get into these businesses right here. And I also have one for a car wash, well, kind of like a gas station and a car wash also, but that way you know exactly how do I get into this stuff in detail and what's the cost and everything that goes into it, okay? Full videos linked down below. Now, number 5 is also rental properties, okay? Real estate, where you actually, your job is, hey, I buy a property, I rent it out, the tenant covers all the costs, I make enough profit to basically cash flow, and then as the loan gets paid off on this property, I make a lot more money as time actually passes, okay? Now obviously there are different types of properties to actually get into. You obviously have single family homes for a single family. Is it risky? In a way, kinda, but it depends on the area you actually live, because basically you only have one tenant. That tenant's not there, well, actually you have no money coming in, okay? Then you also have multifamily, more expensive but less risk, because basically you have more and more tenants. That way your risk level is actually less. On top of that, you have buildings. If you want to become a tycoon, you own a whole building, have a lot of tenants, that way your risk is a lot less, but obviously the price is a lot more. Then you also have slumlords, where basically, I don't like to call it slumlords, kind of like, hey, I own land and people that have trailers live in my land and pay me rent, but I don't have to worry about their trailers, because basically they actually own their own trailers. And on top of that, you have commercial real estate, where, hey, I own this piece of real estate and people that have businesses want to rent it out and basically run their business from my property. Now, the risk is, hey, during bad economic apocalypse, I might have a lot of vacancies, but during good times, which is most times, in reality, you're going to have a lot of business go through. And especially if you have laundromats or food places or restaurants, stuff like that, usually that's not gonna shut down until COVID hit and now restaurants are going crazy, but laundromats are still good. They're still operating, because basically that is never gonna change. People always need to go ahead and wash their clothes, whether you have a depression or, for example, a lot of money going on in the stock market, okay? That's never really gonna change. Now, guys, number 6, number 7 are security based. So basically, you have stocks, number 6, and also for number 7, you have mutual funds, okay? Now, the idea is that with stocks, obviously, your job is not to go ahead and invest into a stock. I know that sounds weird, right? But your job is to go ahead and analyze a business and say, for example, hey, here is the true value of the business, here is the target price, and here's what I'm going to actually buy it for, and then go ahead and invest into that stock. And over time, it pays you dividends and it also grows in value, and then you sell it for a massive profit. That is your job. In reality, what you are is not an investor of stocks, but more of a appraiser of businesses, okay? And that is how stocks actually work. Now, mutual funds, you have 2 ways to actually do it. You try to beat the market with an active manager, or for example, you try to track the market with an index fund, okay? Now, by the way, I've had a lot of success just by trying to track the market with index funds, okay? So right here is my portfolio, which I also have linked down below with M1 Finance, and right here, I'm actually up around 16.67%, and again, I'm not trying to beat the market in any way, and all my investments right now are doing very well. But right now, the stock market is obviously doing very, very well. And now, I'm up around 16%, just trying to track the market and not trying to beat the market whatsoever. But when it comes to having an active manager, they have a lot of fees, taxes incurred because of trading, and the idea is that the average manager, active manager, is not beating the market whatsoever. So usually I recommend, hey, just try to track the market with some index funds. And by the way, my portfolio is linked down below into what exactly I invest into. Now, number 8 is basically peer-to-peer lending. Now, this means your money now becomes an asset where you actually lend to people, charge them interest, and make a profit. So I lend you money, my money makes money because basically you pay me interest. Now, peer-to-peer lending does not mean friend-to-friend lending or family-to-family lending. Usually, you want to avoid that at all costs. It will add too much complexity to your relationship and most likely sometimes ruin a good family or friendship relationship. So usually I don't do that whatsoever. But for example, when you're a peer-to-peer lender, you're not lending money, okay? What you're doing is basically analyzing people and trying to find out where your money has the best place of actually staying there and getting that money back, okay? That's the entire idea. So instead of saying, hey, well, person A wants $10,000. Here's the money, give it back to me. No, it's not like that. It's kind of like, hey, person A has a low income job, has a lot of debt, and also has not the best reputation. So maybe that is not where I want my money. But person B has a decent job, has no debt, and wants the money to actually go ahead and invest into something they know about. That sounds like a good prospect. So in reality, it's not about, hey, I'm gonna make this much money, but it's more about, hey, where do I put my money into someone that's going to have that money safe, also pay me money, and have the money returned back to me safely. Usually, someone with a lot of debt is not a good prospect whatsoever. Okay, now number 9, guys, is selling or creating a product, okay, or for example a service. In this case, let's say for example you wanted to make an ebook about cooking, or a course about cooking, or teach cooking classes, or for example just sell cakes. The answer is there are a ton of ways just from cooking to make a ton of money. So the idea is that although you don't have to do cooking, you do have to find out basically, what do I want to do? Do I want to make a podcast, or do I want to make an ebook, or do I want to write a book, or do I want to go out there and make a course about whatever I'm actually interested in? The answer is, as long as they're actually, how do I say this? As long as there's actually demand for what you actually want to make, usually that's going to make for a good prospect for whatever you actually want to build. And for example, if you really want to take it to the next level, if you're really smart, you can invent a product and then license it out to people and make a lot of money. But obviously, that's a lot more difficult. But making a small product or a service, that's not going to be that hard. I would basically start off with, hey, maybe I'll make a YouTube channel, and then make a course, and then make an ebook, and then go from there. That's the entire idea there. And then lastly, number 10, guys, here. And by the way, guys, so far, I hope this video gave you guys some value and ideas on what to actually buy, because again, everyone was on Black Friday buying things that didn't add any value to them, but this stuff is in some way, if you invest into it, going to make you money some way, somehow, because basically assets are supposed to pay you money when you actually invest into them. And the last one is basically bonds. No one talks about bonds because everyone's worried about, hey, stocks and also mutual funds, but in reality, bonds are very important because bonds protect your capital because it's not that risky. And on top of that, they also give you fixed income, and that's actually pretty cool also. So also consider investing into bonds. Now, by the way, guys, okay, this is a lot to handle. This is 10 different things to do in almost like 3 to 4 different industries. You don't have to do everything I told you here, but the answer is, in my channel, I have videos on most of these things right here to actually go ahead and learn more details about it. But again, just pick 1 or 2 things, try them out, and see exactly what clicks for you. If it doesn't click, try something else, okay? That is the entire idea. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, like this video if you liked it. On top of that, also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. And on top of that, if you want to talk to me or text me, start my Patreon link down below, or send me a DM on Instagram at TommyBryson. And before I go, if you want to see a full video on more business plans and what to actually do, here's that playlist right here. And click them out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.